Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Ki Giridhari Radhika Man Giriju Ki Jai. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabalava Givanadhari Gopi Janabalava Girivanadhari Yasoda Nanjana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nanjana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabalava Givanadhari Gopi Janabalava Givanadhari Yasoda Nanjana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nanjana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabalava Givanadhari Gopi Janabalava Givanadhari Yasoda Nanjana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nanjana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Ho, Jai Ho. First of all, I'd like to offer my heartfelt Puspanjali to the lotus feet of my Harinam Diksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. Second of all, to my Bhajan Shiksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, to Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to the entire Guru Parampara. Especially to Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, and today, especially to Lalita Sakhi, and to Srimati Radhika. Now I'm doing things a bit backwards, so Om Jnana Timirandasya Jananjana Slakaya Chakshur Militamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitamina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Mahavandanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaur Tivashem Namaha Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You'll have to all please forgive me. I have been absent from class for quite a few days. I've had a few health challenges, but hopefully today and until Kartik we'll be able to have class. Let's see what Guru and Krishna arrange. But today, in Vrindavan at least, we have a very special day. It's the appearance day of Srimati Lalita Sakhi. And as we all know, Lalita Sakhi is the head of the Ashtasakhis, the dearest, dear Sakhis of Srimati Radhika, her closest, on one sense, on the sense of her same level. We have different categories of Sakhis, of course, as we know. We have Sakhis, which are like Vrinda Devi, like this. Then we have Nitya Pran Sakhis, which are Srimati Radhika's Manjaris. they're very close also, but it's different. It's in intimacy, not in seniority. You might say, like if you have a government and you have the prime minister, and then you have the, what's next, the vice prime minister, what do you call him, vice president. So that's like equal category, like this is like Lalita and Vishaka like this. But then you have the private secretary of the prime minister, and they aren't as senior, and they don't have the same responsibilities, but they're the most intimate, because they can run in and out of the prime minister's office without any hesitation. They can go in, bring a message, they know what's going on. It's a different kind of intimacy. This is like the Manjaris. The Manjaris are very intimate Sakhis of Srimati Radhika, but they're junior, like this. But when Lalita Sakhi wants to go in the Kunj and see what's happening or do some seva, she has to ask first Rupa Manjari or Rati Manjari, what is happening in the Kunj? Can I go in now? You see? Even though she's so senior, and actually Rupa Manjari is working underneath Lalita Sakhi. All the Manjaris are serving underneath Rupa Manjari, but Rupa Manjari is serving under Lalita and Vishaka. But still, there's such an intimate service that the Manjaris have. And the Nanga Manjari and her group, they're kind of in between all that. But the most senior is Lalita Devi. And Lalita Devi is even so senior that she's senior to Radha and Krishna. She's 27 days older than Srimati Radhika. And how many days older is Krishna than Radhika?
1 year and 15 days.
Oh, 1 year and 15 days. So she's not older than Krishna. But still she's senior. Still she keeps him under control. There's a beautiful prayer actually by Rupa Goswami. It's so beautiful. In his Utkalika Valery. And Rupa Goswami is saying, I'm not going to read the Sanskrit. He's saying, O Lalita Devi, because you always control the hero and heroine of the Kunjas at Govardhan. So the hero and the heroine, Radha and Krishna, the topmost romantic heroes, they are in the Nikunjas of Govardhan. And who keeps them under control? Lalita Devi. So therefore, Rupa Goswami says, there's nothing that you can't achieve. You can do anything. Therefore, please, please, mercifully accept me and engage me in Jugal Kishore's seva. Like this. So special. And of course, we know the prayer by Raghunath. No, was it Rupa? The Lalita Astakam was by Rupa. Yeah, by Rupa Goswami again. In the Lalita Astakam. I think it's verse 7. Verse 7, where Rupa Goswami is revealing that any person, especially any maiden, because by that time will be a maiden, in Braj, who has any desire to serve Srimati Radhika and meet Srimati Radhika, become a maidservant, if Lalita Devi just detects even a slight scent of this desire, even a slight scent, she'll accept that Sakhi, and she will bring her into her care, and she will order Radhika to accept her, to write her name in the list of Radha's Sakhis. Yes. Maybe you want to turn off the fan. This might be too much. So Lalita Devi is so important for us, so near and dear to us, because what is we're aspiring Rupanuga Gaudiya Vaishnavas. This is the mercy that we've been given by our Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, and all of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's associates, like that. They've given us entrance into the family of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, like this, who are the leaders of the Manjaris, and Raghunath Das Goswami, Rup, Sanatana, Raghunath. These are the leaders, and they are actually the proprietors of Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu has given Vrindavan to them, you know. So Mahaprabhu has given some so the proprietorship of Vrindavan to Rupa, Sanatana, and Raghunath. Because they actually have the heart of Vrindavan in their hearts. And what is this? It is a seva to Srimati Radhika and Krishna in a certain mood that is only their mood. Lalita and Vishaka, they have a certain mood. Their mood is one way. But Rupa, Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, Rati Manjari, under Lalita and Vishaka, they are serving in such an intimate way. Their heart is the most intimate service to Radha and Krishna, like this. But Lalita Devi is the one who allows us entrance into this group. We need her mercy. She's in charge. What do you call it? She's in charge of the Gana. Srimati Radharani is the Yuteshwari. She's in charge of the Yut. There are different kinds of groups. It's all explained in the Radha Krishna Ganadesha Deepika of Rupa Goswami. So the general group is a Yutesh, and in charge is a Yuteshwari. And the next is the Gana. And the Gana in charge, Yuteshwari, whatever you want to call it, I'm not so good at the terms in Sanskrit, is Lalita. Because Rupa Manjari is under Lalita. So we beg for this mercy of Lalita Sakhi. This has also been revealed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his songs, in his Siddhi Lalasa, and in his Navadvip Bhava Taranga, when he is actually revealing his actual Swarup as Kamala Manjari, who's in the group of Rupa Manjari. In there he's revealing how Ananga Manjari and the Manjaris will actually introduce him to her, to Lalita Sakhi, and allow her entrance into the group of Lalita Sakhi. Like this. And all of them will serve together and they'll be trained up by Lalita Sakhi, Vishaka Sakhi, by everyone will. But still, the group leader is Lalita. And there's a beautiful prayer by Raghunath Das Goswami. It's in, sorry, I can't memorize everything. It's in his Stavavali, in a prayer called Swa Sankalpa Prakash Stotram. And in that particular prayer, he is praying to all the Yasasakis for a particular seva. He prays to Champakalata to learn how to cook. He prays to Rangadevi to learn how to dance. But it's interesting, when he's praying to Lalita Devi, it's not so specific like that. He has two prayers to Lalita Devi. And one is, O Rupa Manjari, when requested by playful and charming Lalita, will Radharani happily, sweetly, and affectionately and shyly teach me again and again your splendid and peerless new plays filled with many concealed riddles and puns and with beautiful sound of the lute? So she prays to Lalita to beg Radharani to teach her how to do riddles, how to joke, how to play the lute, how to do so many things like this. She doesn't pray to Lalita to do this. Oh, Lalita, will you please ask Radharani to teach me this? And if Lalita asks, then Radharani has to do this, right? And the second prayer is very beautiful. When in a very secluded place will Mukunda just beg me in very sweet words to break the man of Srimati Radhika's jealous anger. And so, to favor him, to please him, and also to please Srimati Radharani, I will fall at Srimati Radharani's lotus feet and beg her to break her man. Then when will Lalita rebuke me in jealous anger of love for having done this? When will this happen? Yeah, when she sees me trying to break the man of Srimati Radharani, when will Lalita get so angry at me? But then later in another verse, I forget, I think it's in the Vilapkushmanjali or else it's in Ukalika Valari, she says, when will I very expertly know how to appease Lalita when she's angry? So like this. So you can see it's not a boring place. Braj is not boring. It's not like it's the impersonal Brahman and everything's wonderful and and no, up there there's so many different moods. We're learning that in this in the Madhurya Kadambini class. So many different moods, especially the Sanchari Bhavs. Up they come and then they go down and up they come, and sometimes they're very different ones. They can be very proud and then they can be very humble. They can be angry and then they can be very peaceful, like this. So Lalita Devi is she's called Prakara Bhamya, Bhamya Prakara. Bhamya, that's a type of mood she has. Radharani has that too. But Radharani is not Prakara, she's Madhya. Prakara means a bold. She can even use harsh words, very bold, and the lover cannot keep her under control. She's in control. And Bhamya, she's very expert in arousing jealous anger. And if she sees that it's going down, Radharani's jealous anger is going down, she gets really upset. And she's very expert at not allowing Radharani to give up her jealous anger, like this. So Lalita's but Lalita's life and soul is Radha and Krishna, and their meeting, like this. But she also is so expert at heightening the mood, especially of separation, which comes from jealous anger, that heightens the meeting, the relishing of the meeting, like this. Because if one can meet very easily all the time, there's no real rasa in there. Nothing. If you can easily come, I remember Srila Gurudev one time, he was telling the ISKCON leaders, he was saying, so if I'm available all the time, then there's no, like this, there's not. Well, if you have to be over there in South Africa, you have to be in Bombay, you have to be in America, then there's so much eagerness. Then the eagerness. And without eagerness, there's no ras. We have to have eagerness. Has to be there. Utkant has to be there. And from Utkant, then you get what Jiva Goswami called chamatkar, astonishment. Without astonishment, also, there's no ras. This is what our authorities have said. No ras without chamatkar. It has to be astonishing. So if everything's so easy, and everyone's just so pleasing and so nice, it's not very astonishing. It's not very, you're not very eager, like this. So it's so, Lalita's expert at heightening the ras, heightening the eagerness and heightening the astonishment of it all. And she herself can rebuke right in front of Radharani. She can rebuke Krishna. In front of Krishna, she rebuked Radharani like this. But still, her only heartfelt desire is that they meet. They meet very happily, like this. But she's an intense person. We have to be ready for her, you see? But she's also very, very kind. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur reveals that she very kindly accepted him as Kamala Manjari in her kunj. And she said, she told Ananga Manjari, who has brought Kamala Manjari to Lalita Sakhi, oh, please give her a place in my kunj near you. Please take her, when you go to do service, please take her with you and help her get trained up. This is Lalita, when she's not trying to arouse jealous anger. When she's dealing with the Manjaris, very, very sweet, very, very encouraging, like this, giving shelter. And she herself, she's just meditating on her service to Radha and Krishna and on the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. When she's in her kunj, this is what she's doing. Meditating on how to arrange, how like this. So Lalita Devi is very important for us. And as we know, Lalita Devi appears in Gaur Leela as Swarup Damodar. And Swarup Damodar is described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami as the second manifestation of Mahaprabhu himself. So near and dear to Mahaprabhu. He was completely expert in kirtan, in the music like this. So expert, an expert in all the Siddhanta also. But even though he was a leader of all the devotees, he was very humble. And unless he was actually serving Mahaprabhu, you wouldn't find him. He would be off somewhere just chanting by himself. Just chanting quietly by himself. Unless he was actually absorbed in enhancing the moods of Mahaprabhu. How by his singing. His singing was completely, how do you say? What's the word? Enhancing? Yeah, the moods that Mahaprabhu were trying to feel in, was trying to feel. Stimulating, that's the word, stimulating the moods. When Mahaprabhu, as we know at the end of his life, he had 24 years in Puri, 24 years in Navadvip. In Navadvip, Swami Damodar was actually there as Purushottama Bhattacharya, I think his name is. He was actually there in Navadvip. So he was very close with Mahaprabhu. And when Mahaprabhu left Navadvip, he went insanely mad in separation. And he went to Benares, because they didn't know where he was, where Mahaprabhu. So he went to Benares, and he actually was going to take sannyas. He didn't, so he gave up his tuft of hair. But he didn't accept the sannyas name. He kept his brahmachari name of Swarup. Then after going there and renouncing, he went to Puri. And he was with Mahaprabhu in the last 24 years of his life. And was completely, 100% dedicated to assisting Mahaprabhu in his mission, here for himself, his internal desire to taste the moods of Srimati Radharani. And he was the most expert in assisting Mahaprabhu in fulfilling those desires. The happiness of Mahaprabhu that Radharani felt. What was it in Krishna that was so attractive to her? The happiness she felt, the greatness of her love. He could sing the song that perfectly stimulated Mahaprabhu's mood. And it's Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that when he would sing, Mahaprabhu would sometimes become completely faint. Completely faint. He was so astonished by the moods also of Swarup Damodar and how he could perfectly sing the songs of Gita Govinda, Chandidas, Bhagavatam, Gopi Gita also. It goes along with Rai Ramananda. Because he's Lalita Sakhi. So he knows. And he doesn't have to be taught how to sing. He doesn't have to be taught anything. It's self-manifesting. That's also there in the Lalita Astakam. All of her qualities are self-manifesting. They're natural. Not that she has to go to school and learn how to. And also, Swami Damodar doesn't have to go to school to learn how to do anything. He naturally knows. He naturally knows what's in the moods of Srimati Radharani, like that. And it's said that because of him, and he wrote some notes in Sanskrit called, I don't know if I can say it right, Karachit? Kadacha. Okay, Kadacha. Kadacha. He wrote these Sanskrit notes all about the final portion of Mahaprabhu's life. And it's only because of him that we have this knowledge, actually, that has been given to the world. And how did that happen? He gave it first to Raghunath Das Goswami. But he also gave to Vakreshwar Pandit. The internal quote, the Antar Bahi, the Antar, anyhow, what is it called? I forgot. Anyhow, the internal moods were given to oh gosh, how's it going? Yeah, something like that. It's in the Jaiva Dharma. Anyhow, he gave the internal way, seva. Because Mahaprabhu asked him to preserve seva, rasamai seva, upasana. That's what it is. And he gave the internal process to Raghunath Das Goswami, who perfectly gave it in his writings. and who taught Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and the essence is Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gave the essence of the teachings of Swarup Damodar to the world. But he gave the external path to Vakreshwar Pandit. And that came down, and Gyan Chandra, the disciple of Gopal Guru, gave this in a padati to the world. It is out there. It is there. We don't usually, in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, our particular tradition, we don't so much follow that, but it is there. We follow Raghunath Das Goswami. And if you remember, because Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami always says at the end of every chapter, he's praying for the mercy of Rupa and Raghunath, you know. So Raghunath Das Goswami, when he finally attained shelter at the lotus feet of Satchidananda Gaur Hari in Puri, Mahaprabhu accepted him, but what did he do? He immediately gave him to Swarup Damodar. Immediately said, you will learn everything from us. He gave him some instructions. Don't wear fancy clothes, don't eat fancy food, you know, meditate on Radha Krishna in the mind, but you'll learn everything from Swarup Damodar. So Raghunath Das Goswami for so many years was hearing and being trained by Swarup Damodar. So we can see, we should study very deeply the teachings of Raghunath Das Goswami and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. This is the mercy of Swarup Damodar, the mercy of Lalita Sakhi. She is so humble, actually. Even though she's the most arrogant, the most, what's the word? She's the most bold. Yeah, bold. But yet actually she's the most humble. She is the most humble. You know? This is only for the pleasure of her Swami, Srimati Radhika, and for her, and for Krishna, and for Radha Krishna. She does all this saving. It says in the Lalita Astakam, how what does she do? When Radha and Krishna are meeting, she just wipes away the perspiration that's on their lotus feet. This gives her so much pleasure. How humble, you know? It's not like she wants to be doing something. You know, this is very, very, very confidential, you know, saving like this. No one knows. Just something for the pleasure of the divine couple. So we pray to her to please accept us. And please place us at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. And please ask Rupa Manjari to accept us, please. Like this, so that we can attain our heart's desire, you know, our seva to Srimati Radharani. Now there's many stories of Swarup Damodar and Puri, but I'm not going to talk about them now. He did so many sevas, so many sevas. He was a person that, if anyone wrote anything, they wrote a poem, they wrote a book, or anything, they wanted to present it to Mahaprabhu, it had to first be scrutinized by Swarup Damodar. Because Mahaprabhu did not like to hear Rasabhas, something that's against Ras, like this, opposed to Ras, imperfectly composed, like this. So he would check everything, and he was not sentimental. If it wasn't according to Ras, he would reject. And he would chastise the person. He did Bhagavadacharya, there were a few like this. But they were very fortunate because they accepted his chastisement and then became pure devotees, like this. Because he was only for wanting the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya and wanting to help the devotees. Also, it was him that would, when Mahaprabhu at the end of his life, he would run, he would disappear, and the poor devotees, they thought maybe he had entered Nitya-lila. They didn't know where he was, many times. And who would always find him? It would be Swarup Damodar. He'd go out searching with the devotees. And one time Mahaprabhu had jumped in the ocean thinking it was Jamuna, right? And they were searching, and all of a sudden this fisherman comes. And he's mad in ecstasy, actually, but because he has fear, it's not, it's not praying. So Swabdhamana asks him what happened. He says, "Oh, I've cut this big fish." Or was it a dead body? I can't remember. Was it? Anyhow, he caught something in his net. And because he had touched it, he had gone mad. It was a ghost or something.
He thought it was a ghost.
Yeah. And so then Swabdhamana is very smart. He says, "Oh, don't worry." Oh, and he was looking for an exorcist to get rid of the ghost. So Swabdhamana says, "No, I'm an expert exorcist," or how do you say it? So he slapped him a few times, said a few mantras, and then he asked him, "So where is this ghost? Where is this?" So the fisherman took him, and of course it was Mahaprabhu who was in divine ecstasy. And the devotees would be heartbroken when they would see him. He'd be covered with sand. Sometimes his limbs would be apart, and even blood would be coming out, like this, showing the ecstasies of Srimati Radhika. And it's amazing because in Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada mentions, and this is the only place I've ever seen this, that sometimes even blood will come from the joints. He says it in one sentence there in his nectar, and he says, "But we don't usually talk about these things. There's nothing more said about it." But Mahaprabhu has exhibited this. And these are some of the moods, the bhavs that are there in Braja Vrindavana. Actually, Srimati Radharani is at the height of her madness, actually. So then they bring Mahaprabhu back, they chant in his ear, Sankirtan, and he comes back, but he's not happy. This is the amazing thing. He's not happy. He says, "Well, you brought me back. Where have you brought me to? You brought me back here. I was in Braj, I was with Radha and Krishna, I was picking flowers, I was doing so many sevas, it was so wonderful. Now I can't hear anything." But the devotees, they bring him back. They do Sankirtan. Gradually he comes to external consciousness. So this is a mystery of Braj. Srila Gurudev talks about this. When Srimati Radharani faints, and she's in Murcha, she's in faint, the Sakhis are not happy, even though it's giving her relief from her separation from Krishna. The Sakhis aren't happy. They're sprinkling her with water, they're calling to her, they're bringing her back out because they do not want to see her in faint. This is a mystery of Braj. And it's all praying. It's not selfish, it's all praying. Very mysterious place. Even though Srimati Radharani wants to be in faith, Mahaprabhu wants to be in faith, no, he must come out, she must come out. Very beautiful. Lalita Sakhi knows all these mysterious things. Swarup-Damodar knows all these mysteries. They've been given to us. Like, how do we know so many things? By Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami was empowered not just by Mahaprabhu, but also by all the devotees there in Puri. And one of them, of course, is Swarup-Damodar. Mahaprabhu asked them all to empower him. So, Swarup-Damodar also empowered Rupa Goswami. What to speak of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami through Raghunath Das Goswami. And he wrote his Govinda Lila Vrita. And then coming down, we have Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Coming down in the line is Krishna Bhavanamrita and all of his writings. It's all been blessed by Swarup-Damodar, who knows the confidential mysteries of Madhur Ras, like this. But he has a specific place as a Sakhi. Now, one thing before I go on is that Lalita Devi has specific services too, which are really beautiful. One of them is she makes everything out of flowers. She loves to do service with flowers. She makes earrings, all different kinds of earrings out of flowers. She makes canopies out of flowers. She makes umbrellas out of flowers. She makes beds out of flowers. She makes houses out of flowers. like this. And in the Radhakrishna Garadesha Deepika, it's many, many pages describing the actual way it's made, like this. So, this is going to be also part of our assisting Lalita Sakhi in making all these beautiful flower ornaments for Radha and Krishna's pleasure. And she's also in charge of, what did I do with my glass? Yes, sorry, Bo. Okay. Okay. Okay, so she is skillful in magic, and making riddles, and she is also very expert in constructing secluded places suitable for intimate conversations. She also arranges a meeting of Radha and Krishna. And she arranges for the meetings and the loving quarrels between Radha and Krishna. And she is the supervisor of all the maidservants who perform Tambul Seva. And she's in charge of all the Kinara Kishoris in the Madan Mohini garden. Now that's very unusual. Because these girls, these maidservants, they're in the group of, they're like the young girls of the demigods Kinnaras. And you know what? They have a body resembling that of a human being and a head of a horse. She's in charge of all these kind of maidservants who are there in the Madan Madini garden. What they're doing there, I'm not sure. But that's what she's in charge of all these dasis. They're called Kinara Kishorikas. Very interesting. And she's in charge of the maidservants who protect flower vines, beetle nut trees, and all the Van Devis. And she's in charge of all the maidens who are esteemed in all the general groups. So, amazing. And at the end of the Radhakrishna Garadesha Deepika, Rupa Goswami explains that the 8 Sakhis, beginning with Lalita, and all the Manjaris, and all the members of their groups, share almost identical forms, swarups, with Sri Radha. And they are all endowed with a beauty that resembles Sri Radha's beauty. So like this. They're actually manifestations of the moods of Srimati Radhika, isn't it? They're her kaya viha. But the thing is, it's not that they're inside of Srimati Radharani and they just pop out. No. They're eternally existing. How we can understand. This is the level of praying. Bhav. We cannot understand. Okay, so Srimati Lalita Devi. Oh, and Srimati Lalita Devi, she appeared in a place in Braj called Karela. Or Karela, I don't know how to say it properly. And then her family moved to Uchagan. And that's her pastime place. And we can visit Uchagan. I've also visited Karela. I can't remember so much about it. But Uchagan is very famous, right near Barshana, isn't it? And there's a mountain there, Sakhi Giri Parvat. And on this mountain, this hill, there's actually, you can still see, if you're blessed, footprints of all the Sakhis. And also you can see katoris and different things in the rocks, in the stones. Amazing, beautiful. And there's also a slide there, where they used to slide. And it's a place where, of course, Radha and Krishna had this amazing pastime with Lalita, where they had the Gandharva wedding of Krishna and Lalita. You know, we all know that story. It's there. And so many different places. And then there's a place of up on the hill, Uchagan itself. They have Kund, Dauji Mandir, and there's a well there that the Sakhis actually, what's the name of the well? Venu. Yeah, something like that. There's Vena, Gopi Koop or something like that. And then Krishna, he dug out the well with his flute. All these pastime places are there. So we should visit these places. Yeah. And what should we do there? What have we been told to do? We should roll in the dust. And we should pray, stav and suti. We should sing. And we should hear the Hari Katha that's been given to us through our Guru Parampara, like this. And we should sweep with a broom. We should sweep like this. We should go and pray for a particle of the dust particle of the lotus feet of Sri Lalita Devi. She's very merciful. But if we don't approach her, what can she do? So we need to approach her. So tomorrow is Rādhaṣthami, and that is amazing. That's this is the greatest day of Srimati Radhika. The nearest and dearest of Lalita Devi. And our ultimate goal, to become the Palyadasi of Srimati Radhika. To talk about Srimati Radhika is just, it's unfathomable actually. It's a deep ocean. Srimati Radharani is like a deep ocean of praying, endless, no end to the ocean of praying. She's Prem Guru for Krishna, for everyone. Krishna, sometimes he goes to Radhakund, as it's described, I think, in the Govinda-lila, and he's being taught dance, what? By Krishna, by Srimati Radharani's image in every leaf, everywhere. Radharani's everywhere, and he's just learning to dance, following behind her image or her too. She's teaching him to dance. Like this. She's Govinda Ananda. Govinda Ananda, the one who gives Ananda to Krishna. She is his Ananda. Everything about her is, she is his pleasure potency. In every way, just a slight glance of her eye. Even if Krishna himself says, the half-broken sentences uttered by Srimati Radharani when she's totally angry at me, when she's in complete man, and she's just stuttering and so angry, that brings me more pleasure than all the beautiful words of all the gopis put together, or of Yashoda Devi, anyway, just a few angry, broken words from Srimati Radharani giving the most pleasure. Why? Why is this? Why is it that Srimati Radharani completely has Krishna under control? Why? Because she's the embodiment of praying. And praying means one is completely selfless. It means one only wants Krishna to be happy. Nothing for themselves. Just like Srimati Radharani and the gopis, when they're in Vrindavana and Krishna's in Mathura, even though they're feeling so much excruciating separation, they're on the point of leaving their bodies. But they don't. Why? Because if Krishna comes back and sees they're not there, then he'll be unhappy. And also they think, if Krishna's happy in Dwarka and in Mathura, let him stay there. Let him be happy. That is our highest happiness, actually. Who can feel like this? Who? Even the Mathuravasis and Dwarkavasis, they can't do this. They cannot. Only the Brajvasis and the topmost Srimati Radhika. Her prayer is Aslisha Va Padaratam Darshanam Marmatam Kavita Yatatata Vavidratarampata Mat Prananatas Tu Se Evanada. No matter what, you are my Nath. You are my Master, my Lord. No matter what you do, you can trample me. You can embrace me. You can embrace another beloved right in front of me. If my unhappiness brings you pleasure, that is my highest happiness. Who can feel like this? Who can feel like this? Srimati Radharani is the source. We're aspiring to become like that, but she is the source of praying. She's a top Madhanakya Mahabhava. There's nothing she does. It's all inclusive. All praying is there. Krishna's pleasure. Only Krishna's pleasure. And she also does not have to be taught anything. She is the teacher. So naturally, everything she thinks, everything she does, every word, everything is most pleasing to Krishna. She doesn't have to sit down and think, write an outline of how she's going to do things so that she'll please Krishna. No, she doesn't have to. She naturally, it's where was I? It's in I think it's in, anyhow, it's in one of either Krishna Bhava-namrita or the Vrindavana-vilasini, speaking about the rasa dance. And all the different gopis are dancing. And Krishna's dancing with all the gopis. And everyone's very much happy. But then finally, Srimati Radharani starts dancing with Krishna. And the gopis want to assist her, but it says they cannot. They cannot keep up with her. They cannot at all come close to her service to Krishna, to her dancing and her singing. She far surpasses all the other gopis. And Krishna's completely captivated by her singing, her dancing, her appearance, everything. Everything about her. What can we say? She's Govinda Mohini. She completely attracts Krishna. Mesra bewilders him. So bewilders him. Isn't it? What is it? She glances at him and his peacock feather falls off, his flute falls, everything falls, he starts to faint. Mm-hmm. This is our Srimati Radhika. And we're aspiring to be her maidservants because we don't aspire to serve Krishna directly. Because we can't. Because we also want prema, and prema is selfless. So if we're selfless, we'll understand I can't bring Krishna happiness the way Radharani can. So if I actually love Krishna, I'll be trying to bring Radharani to Krishna so he'll be happy. Isn't it? That's prema. Not that, I want to try, I want to be with Krishna and I want, that's just lust, that's just selfishness. You see? But prema is we want Krishna to be happy. Well, that means you're going to try and arrange for Radha and Krishna to be together. So this is our highest goal. To become the maidservant of the maidservant of the maidservant of Srimati Radhika. Maidservant of Rupa Manjari, all the way down. With the blessings of Lalita, Vishaka, Ananga Manjari, Vrindadevi, like this. And we want to have no other thing. No other aspiration. Because this is who we actually are. It's not even that we're trying to create this. See? We're not trying to create this identity or this kind of mood. We are so fortunate we've come to understand by the mercy of Satchidananda Gaurahari and all of his associates, especially Srila Prabhupada, who brought to the Western world the truth of the jiva. You're not the body, you're jiva. But what jiva are you? It's fixed. It's fixed. The jiva is fixed. Like the seed of a mango tree. It's a mango tree, or it's a neem tree. A neem tree can't be a mango tree, and you can't change by association. Not possible. So, who are we? We're Rupa Nuga. We've been told we are Rupa Nuga. So therefore, we have the potential to be a maidservant of Srimati Radharani. So fortunate that we have been given this information. Like that. It's so rare. So rare. Like this. So we pray on this day that Lalita Devi will help us, that our potential will become a manifest reality as soon as possible, that Srimati Radhika will accept us, because Radhika will not accept anyone who hasn't been offered by Lalita Devi. Oh, and I wanted to tell one other thing. This is both Radha and Lalita, so this is really sweet. It's from the Vilap Kusumanjali, actually. one time, Srimati Radhika becomes actually angry at, this is Rādhaṣthami, so it's Tulsi or Rati Manjari, becomes angry at her and sends her away. And what happens? Lalita Devi brings Rati Manjari back and begs Radharani to forgive her and to accept her. And that's where the famous prayer, where it comes from, Rati Manjari, is Tavoy Vasni, Na Jivami Twayami, Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantike. I am yours, I am yours, I am yours. Like this. So we always need the other Sakhis or the other devotees. We need sadhu sangha, always. Sadhu sangha is there, either in the perfected state as our Sakhis, or in this state as our Guru Varg, the Guru and the Vaishnavas. We need sadhu sangha. And we serve the Guru and the Vaishnavas. Guru Seva, Vaishnav Seva. This is what Swami Damodar was teaching. This is what Rupa Goswami, this is what everyone is teaching. This is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is teaching us in the Madhurya Kadambini. How we can actually come to our full potential of praying seva. Now, we don't have much time here. And I haven't spoken about the Madhurya Kadambini in a long time. But we pretty much finished chapter, or shower 7 of Bhava. Pretty much finished Bhava. But there was a little tiny bit more, and then to go to praying. But we've been very, very fortunate that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is so anxious for us to actually attain praying. So anxious that he spent so long teaching us about anartha-nivritti, especially about offenses. You know, how detrimental offenses are. And that only actually the last fragrance of offense is gone when we finally get praying, when we finally have darshan of Krishna. So it's important to have heard all this process and finally to hear praying like this. Because why are we hearing is such a, this is like, but it's our aspiration. Praying is our aspiration. Everything will be finished then. All the offenses are finished. All the anarthas from sinful activities, pious activities, seva, everything is finished. All our past impressions are gone. Finally, the stockpile of all of our samskars is finished. And the mind becomes Vrindavan, the heart becomes Vrindavan. Radha and Krishna can sit there. We can serve them only when we have praying. Only when we have our Siddha Deha. Now we're aspiring. We can call it, yes, I'm serving Ganharvika Giridhari, but really, it's an aspiration. We cannot serve them until we are on the same level, which is our bodies are of the same composition, which is Satchidananda. It's not possible. We should not become sahajya, where we think that we're massaging the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, when we still have lust, anger, greed, and all these things. We still have a material body, and no, the material body is forgotten. It is transformed. It's very difficult to understand, because sometimes it's described that the material body, just like Dhruva Maharaj, he went back in his self-same body, but his body was transformed. It wasn't a material body, like this. Even the gopis that were held back from the rasa dance, it says that by embracing Krishna in their meditation, everything inauspicious was annihilated, destroyed. That's the word, destroyed. But it's not that they died. It's not that and their husband saw here's a dead body there. No, that would be totally inauspicious for the rasa dance. No, their body's completely transformed, and any little bit of inauspiciousness that was there is completely destroyed, completely gone. And so they're transformed, and now they're fit for the rasa dance. So on another night, Yoga Maya takes them to the rasa dance, like this. So we cannot see. How can we see the transformation that's going on in another living entity's path of bhakti. Because this is what this is. This is the blossoming of the Bhakti Lata, the creeper of bhakti. So it's a transformation. Down here we had just a seed. And the seed is finally there's a sprout and there's leaves and like this, you know, and it's all this Shraddha is being transformed into Nishta, Ruchi, Ashakti, Bhav, Prem. Then as we get into Prem, we'll see what is it? Sneha, Man, Pranaya, Rag, Anurag, Mahabhav, Ruda, Adiruda, Modan, Mohan, Madanaki, Mahabhav. And for the Manjaris, they have a slight bit of this Madanaki, Mahabhav. They don't have like Srimati Radhika, and only Srimati Radhika has it. Not even Lalita Vishaka. But the Manjaris have some, or else they could not do their Kunja Seva. Would not be possible. They have some. By the mercy of Srimati Radhika, they have some. Like this. She gives them everything that is necessary for their seva. Like this. This is the transformation that we are aspiring for. But let's not be in illusion about where we're at. Let's understand we're hearing all these things, so we will fix our goal. And we won't let ourselves get attracted to nonsense things in this material world. Even things in the mode of goodness. Even some things in, let's say, a spiritual life. To Vaikuntha, to Ayodhya, to the Brahman, effulgence, to Dwarka, Mathura, even Gokul. No. Our destination, what? There's Java, there's Vamsiva, there's Govardhan, Radhakund, Shavakund, there's Bandirvan. This is someplace, this is Madhurya Ras. This is our aspiration. So we don't want to get sidetracked. Oh, and Krishna might come and he might say, well, you know what? Did you know that to become a gopi, who became gopis? The sages of Danya Karanya. There were some demigoddesses. There was this. So, by the way, I'll help you become a demigoddess. You can be a demigod. Then you can become a gopi. And Krishna, no, you're not going to trick me. No. I'm an aspiring Rupa Nuga Gaudiya Vaishnava. I'm only going to accept this. I'm only going to accept the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Manjari. No, not for me. I'm not going this way. Because you can get sidetracked for unlimited time. Very dangerous in the heavenly planets. So, we're very fortunate to Swab Damodar. This is his appearance day as in the form of Lalita Sakhi, who has given us the guidelines, and we've gotten them. It's been passed down through Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and down to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It's very kindly given us this Madhurya Kadambini. So we're very grateful to Swab Damodar, because in Gaur Leela, all the I'm forgetting my words. All the devotees, I've been thinking of a different word, but anyhow, they're very merciful. They speak, they give. Whereas in Krishna Leela, they're very absorbed in serving and in tasting. So this is why in Gaur Leela, this is our entrance. We get the entrance through Gaur Leela. Okay. Vanchakapajivasa kripa sindhu bhavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Lalita Sakhi ki jai ho, Srimati Radhika ki jai ho, Madhurya Kadambini ki jai ho. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Jaya Lalita Devi Jaya Lalita Devi
Radhika Devi Jaya Radhika Devi
Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe
Jaya Radhe Jaya Sri Radhe. Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gurudeva. Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol.
Gaur Premanande,
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol. Hopefully we'll see you next week.